Hey, it's Joe Barnes from the Screw the System channel, and I'm back with another reaction video. This time I'm reacting to the book The Latte Factor, written by David Bach. It was released very recently, actually, probably the last couple of months, and I read it last week as a part of a project, ongoing project I'm doing. I've been hired by a company called Books, which is an app where you can buy a subscription service to their products. Basically, they have a whole library of books on their app, and they also have these condensed version of books. So what happens is they give me a title to write. In this case, it was The Latte Factor. I've also written one for Phil Knight's book, Shoe Dog. That's really good. I'm trying to think of some other. David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me. So they give me these books to read. I read them, then I write 4,000 words on them, and then they put them up on the app for people to download and read. And I also think they turn them into sort of mini audio books as well. Anyway, you should check them out, but also obviously check out my ones, but listen to this review and possibly consider buying and reading this book, The Latte Factor, yourself. I found it really good. I didn't really know what I was in store for when I bought it. I hadn't read any of David Bach's other books, but was quickly really impressed with the book. It takes the format of a sort of storytelling, wisdom within the story type book. So you're talking about the genre which The Alchemist belongs to, also talking about the Celestine Prophecy. Sorry, it's one of those types of books rather than being a plain non-fiction explaining the concepts, giving examples, going through it in that way. So bearing that in mind, Bach actually weaves a very interesting story. It focuses on a 27-year-old woman who's working in New York, earning a decent salary, but unable to seem to be able to do any of the things she ever wants. She feels chained. And the reason she feels chained is when she meets this mysterious bar worker called Henry, much older than her. I think he's listed at 71 in the book. He starts to explain to her the secrets of financial freedom. And basically that's what the book is all about. There are three main key points. One is pay yourself first. Two is, let me think, I know what. Three is live rich now. Two is make it automatic. So we've got pay yourself first, make it automatic, live rich now. These are the three steps to financial freedom given to us through this character of Henry. Obviously they're David Bach's ideas portrayed through the character. Pay yourself first is not a new idea. If you were to read The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason, I think that was published in 1925, 1926. The main point of his book is pay yourself first, basically. Set aside 10 to 20% of your income before tax and put it into an account or set it aside somewhere, whatever you might want to do with it. And by doing this, over the years, you are going to accumulate a lot of money. Now, Bach goes a step further. He says, make it automatic. That's number two. What he means by this is don't leave it up to yourself to at some point take this money you've earned and then put it into an account, put it into an investment, etc. At the point of being paid, make sure that you divert 10 to 20% of your funds into a specifically set up account. The point here of doing that is that if you leave it to yourself, it's very easy to get out of the habit of doing it. It becomes a hassle. You might start spending money on other things. He's saying it's essential that you must pay yourself first and do it automatically. Final point is live rich now, which he means basically don't put off doing all the things you want to do with your life until your retirement. If you're very clever with your money, and this is the whole point of the Latte Factor, the latte is, he's saying, like $5 a day. Just putting aside $5 a day into a high earning interest account. He's suggesting a 10% interest account. He breaks down all these figures in the book. I'm doing this whole reaction video off the top of my head, so I'm just trying to remember them. Anyway, $5 a day you're saving. Over 40 years, I think, says will make you a millionaire if it's in a 10% interest account. You may need to check the figures exactly, but I know that's ballpark. I know I'm talking roughly the right numbers there. And it's incredible to think that just these small savings, it's not just a latte, it could be, you know, TV channels which you don't use. Over here in England, UK, we've got Sky, which costs a bloody fortune. I've recently ditched it, and I'm so glad I did. Their programs aren't even that great, and you can sort of mix and match with Netflix and Amazon and other stuff to pay a lot cheaper and probably get better programs. Anyway, the point is there are small daily expenses that you'll currently be making. Maybe you're eating out too often and getting too many takeaways, that if you cancel all of that stuff and stop doing it, you'll have $5 to $25, whatever the equivalent of that is in UK money, to set aside every single day to start working towards earning your financial freedom. I think it's a brilliant concept, actually. The only flaw I found with the book is this idea of 10% interest on an account. You know, what accounts in 2019, what investments are offering 10%? It's crazy. Well, he says the answer is the stock market. If you invest in the stock market, if you look back to figures in the 1920s, trace them all the way up to now, and he sort of shows a chart that year on year, it does tend to grow between 12 and 8% over that period of time, which might be accurate, which might be correct. However, my problem with that, and anybody who sort of has cares about the world in general and the larger than just their own personal wealth, is, you know, what are you investing in when you're putting that money into the stock market? There are a hell of a lot of corrupt companies out there destroying the planet, making millions of people's lives a misery, and you're then benefiting off that. You're then taking advantage of that and pumping your money into it and continuing that cycle. I don't want to come across as, you know, holier than thou, because I have invested in the stock market before. I don't now for that reason. I don't want my money doing harm in the world. I've invested in Tesla, which I'm happy to do. But so that kind of leaves you with a bit of a problem. You know, if you are going to put your money in the stock market and benefit from this great advice that Bach has, then you are in some way contributing to all of the ills and problems of the world. However, you don't have to invest. The idea of paying yourself first is still a great one, and I'm sure you can find some kind of ethical investments. Okay, you may not hit that magical 10% figure, but you can still grow your money, and his principles are excellent. For that reason, I'm giving the book a 4-star out of 5. It's a strong 4 as well. It's really good, really engaging, not too long. You learn a lot from it. It sticks in your mind as well because of the story. I just think he could have found a better way, or perhaps start to explore ethical investments. Why not? Why not include that in the book as well, so that your money is actually doing some good in the world? Nonetheless, excellent book though. Highly recommend you guys getting it and reading it, and stay tuned for more reaction videos. See you in the next one.